Hi everybody, Stephanie Kraft here. This video is about what should humans be eating. I know this is a really loaded and controversial topic. It's a topic that's been coming up in a lot of forums and conversations and all over the world. I'm sure you've seen people discussing what we should be eating. Should we be vegan? Should we be vegetarian? Should we be omnivores? And so people comment and ask questions, and I decided that, let me just make a video about my own personal story, opinion, experiences. And again, whatever I'm saying here is my personal opinion based on my studies, my research, and my own experimentation with my own body. And, I'm sure that I'm going to trigger people who are listening, and that's just the way that this topic goes. And if you do comment on the video, please be nice, be kind, be in your heart, and I will delete anything that is too, angry or mean, because really the work that I do in the world and who I am is all about love and guidance and wisdom and educating. And if you are not, in alignment with what I say, that's okay. We don't have to agree, but we can be kind to each other, and I would just ask for kindness from you. So I'm going to talk about my history. This just an overview. I'm planning on talking about really what I believe humans should be eating. There's a lot of information out there, and there's a new push, not new, but like a big push toward certain ways of eating. And I'll get into that later, and what I think about those things. And so at this point, humanity is somewhat confused. Not everybody's confused. Some people have found their way and they think that that's right. But these things are changing over time when people experiment with their own body and try out different ways of eating. They may find that over time that doesn't work for them and they have to change it. So I truly believe that the ancient and indigenous populations of the world knew what they were doing, and we can learn from their wisdom and from their techniques, from their knowledge, that we have a tendency to move away from tradition and try new things. There's nothing wrong with that, but I think we should consider and value the wisdom of cultures throughout the history of humanity. They knew what they were doing, and we can learn from them. So basically, I'm going to start with my story. In 1994, I entered graduate school. I went to the American University in Washington, D.C., and I got a Master's of Science in Health Promotion Management. So this is not a very popular Master's of Science that people automatically know what it is, but the coursework was like anatomy and physiology, biochemistry, exercise physiology, nutrition, behavioral psychology, counseling, entrepreneurship. And so I was studying the sciences: human biology, biochemistry, nutrition, exercise physiology, anatomy, physiology. So basically, this degree helps a person work in the field of health, wellness, fitness, nutrition, anything in any kind of work in that area. After graduate school, I worked in the field of in the fitness industry and was continuing my studies in nutrition very deeply, because it's a passion of mine and that never ends. So every day I'm reading, every day I'm listening to videos, and this has been going on for approximately 25 years or so of my life. So let's see, 1994, how many? Yeah, about 25 years, right? So basically, after a while, I decided to get a second master's degree. I didn't actually get it, but I was going to. So I was going to go to acupuncture school. And on my way to entering that degree program, I had to take nutrition again because mine was 5 years old. It had expired, and the university that I wanted to go to had prerequisites of anatomy and physiology and nutrition. And I was thinking to myself, oh, this is so annoying because I've already taken nutrition. I already know like everything about nutrition, I thought. And it was kind of annoying, but I was like, oh, well, whatever. I love the topic, so I'm going to go. And I didn't think I would learn anything new. So I went to the nutrition classes. And when I got there, I loved my professor. She was amazing. She said, and she's very popular, well-known. She's on the radio. And I was lucky to land in this class. And came into the class, and she said, here's the packet. She gave us a handout of notes stapled. She said, these are your notes for the entire course. This is what's on the test. Study this. We're not going to go over any of it. I'm going to teach you real nutrition. And her license plate said, eat fat. So this was a whole new world was opening up to me in the world of nutrition. She dove deep. She gave us new, cutting edge, real nutrition, not fake, food pyramid, not fake funded by the government or the meat industry or the dairy industry or the wheat, corn, soy. No, she was real, and she taught us amazing information. And I learned a lot. I was so, naive going into that. We all are, because we think if we've studied nutritional science and we understand this, cellular biology and all that stuff that goes into nutritional science. But if we haven't opened up to what humans really should be eating, we might think that what they say is right. I found out that there's so much corruption in the nutrition world. And I guess back then she told, so this class was in 2001. I'm taking this nutrition class in 2001. She said that I think it was more than 50% or so was of nutrition research and information education out in the world was funded by the Dairy Council. Dairy industry was funding or putting out 50% of the nutrition information. So, the whole drink milk thing was going on big back then. There were a lot of ads and stuff. But so she introduced us to the Weston A. Price research. Weston A. Price, I have a book right here, was a dentist. Oh gosh, probably in the late 1800s, early 1900s. Don't quote me on that. I forget. But I think, this was probably from the early 1900s. But this is his book. It's called Nutrition and Physical Degeneration. He was a dentist, probably backwards in the camera, but it's a big, thick nutrition book. And the research that he did was that he traveled around the world and studied indigenous populations, multiple around the world, many, many, many different indigenous populations around the world. And he compiled what they ate, and he was looking at the healthiest populations in the world. And he compared what they all ate. And it turns out that they were eating animal foods. So organ meat, everything straight from the earth, natural, pure, all parts of the animal, bone broth, fermented dairy. So don't quote me on that, if it's, but yeah, like, but, and it's so amazing. There are pictures in this book of how when nutrition declines. So when you're not eating these very pure, high nutrient dense foods from the earth that are including animal foods, animal products, high healthy fats such as saturated fat, butter, lard, beef tallow, animal fats, eggs. So when populations started to eliminate some of these things, when the agricultural world took over more and people started adding grains and sugars and processed foods into their diets, and this started to spread into the indigenous populations around the world, their health declined. Even the size and shape of the jaw reduced, allowing for the crowding of teeth, whereas before, when they were on their pure diets, they would have perfect teeth and wide, broad jaws. And he shows like the before and after. So like the pictures of the people with total health, no cardiovascular disease, no cancer, no diabetes, no hypertension, nothing. And then and they're all healthy. And then the after pictures of, like, I don't know, a couple generations later when these processed foods were introduced, and then the degeneration of health. And it's incredible. It's visually incredible. So what my professor exposed me to and taught me was, the kids are playing in the street back there, so it's distracting me. I hope it's not distracting you. Ignore them. But so was that she highlighted these commonalities in their diets, the indigenous populations around the world, and they're the things that I'm talking about. What not processed foods, not the grains. If they did have the grains, they would be soaked, sprouted, and any nuts, for example, nuts and seeds would be soaked and sprouted and then cooked in it at a very low heat for like 24 hours, like 125 degrees. So basically what's happening is, with nuts, for example, there's phytic acid. People think that, let's just eat raw nuts because raw food is healthier. But in fact, if you eat raw nuts, you're actually depleting your body of minerals, and it's very irritating to the gut. Actually, they're not very digestible. Phytic acid depletes your body of minerals. And so the ancient or the indigenous people knew how to soak their nuts and how to roast them at low, very, very low heat for long periods of time to break up or eliminate that phytic acid so that they could become digestible and then highly nutritious. So there's just so much about nutrition that has been lost. But luckily, there's somebody who started the Weston A. Price Foundation, and her name is Sally Fallon, and she wrote this book, Nourishing Traditions. This book is amazing. Not only is it a cookbook that teaches you these traditional ways that I'm talking about, that Weston A. Price found and researched from around the world, but she not only is it the information and the recipes, but throughout, on every page throughout the book, she's explaining the history, the corruption of the industries, and like everything about nutrition and the studies. It's the whole book is full of all of these studies. It is fascinating. It's very interesting. After I took that class in 2001, I ended up immediately working for her and the Weston A. Price Foundation, and just helping her with the conference that was coming up. Luckily, it happened to be my area. She actually lived in my neighborhood, crazy, and in DC, Washington, DC. And I ended up going to the Weston A. Price Foundation conference that year, 2001, and was doing some marketing for them and stuff. And so I sat in on all of these lectures that day from all these amazing authors in the field of nutrition and learned so much. And so that was really exciting for me to finally learn, learn about nutrition. The world of nutrition opened up to me in a whole new way. And then I actually went and worked for a place in DC called the Center for Science in the Public Interest. It's a nonprofit organization in DC, and I was writing nutritional policy for Congress. But CSPI, the Center for Science in the Public Interest, is not in alignment, was not, I don't even know, I haven't followed up on them, and since then I have no idea what kind of work they're doing. But back then in 2001, I was not in alignment at all. It was opposing information. I was not in alignment with anything that they were doing around nutrition. I knew that going in, but I also knew it was a good opportunity to work in the field of nutrition because it was my field, and I wanted to get some experience. And I did try to affect change. So it was this was crazy. So in that year when I was working there, they had just prior to that discovered trans fatty acids, which when you have hydrogenated fats and oils and you take them in, it's extremely unhealthy. And these are called trans fatty acids. Well, CSPI wanted to call them saturated fat and put it on the nutrition label. So before this year, I don't know when it actually came into effect, but I was writing the policy for it. Before that, there was on the nutrition labels on our food in the United States, it had, calories, carbs, sugar, and I think it had fat, total fat. They might have by then been breaking down mono unsaturated, polyunsaturated. They might have even had saturated fat on there, but maybe not yet. But my work was to, put trans fat on there because that was the important fat that we all needed to pay attention to, that we all needed to know. Does this food have trans fat? Because if it has trans fat, we should not be eating it. But my boss, don't tell her I'm talking about her, not a very nice person, she wanted to label it saturated fat. And I said, no, it is not saturated fat. You cannot put that on the label. You have to call it what it is. It's trans fat. And she said, Stephanie, people are not smart enough. They're not going to understand. Anyway, saturated fat is bad. So we want to put it as saturated fat. We don't need to say it's trans fat. But if you've ever studied nutrition, the science of it, saturated fat and trans fatty acids are two different molecules. They are not the same, and they act differently in the body. Okay. And I was so mad, that she wanted to deceive the entire human population, at least in the United States, about what was in the food. So it was kind of hard to do my job, but I, didn't last too long there. I quit because I'm not one to stay in certain places that, aren't in alignment with my philosophies or the truth. That's really what I'm about. I'm about the truth. And so I happily was like, you know what, I'm out of here. I'll see ya. And I'm going to move on to bigger and better things. And so let's see what else after that. So fast forward, I went on about my life and kept studying nutrition. And in 2011, I started to experiment with my own diet. I actually I had never done a diet before. I did the HCG diet, human chorionic gonadotropin, which is the hormone that women have in their bodies when they're pregnant. You've probably heard of the HCG diet, but I was taking the homeopathy under the tongue drops every day, and I was losing 1, 2, 3 pounds a day. It's a crazy, amazing diet that works. I did it for 3 weeks. There's a protocol to do it for 3 weeks. And then I was on maintenance for 3 weeks. So basically I lost 20 pounds or something. I don't remember what, but I got very thin. I lost more than that because I kept going a little bit longer, but too thin, and then I decided to gain more weight back because I was way too skinny. But the point is that I started experimenting with my diet, and that was a really strict diet. It was the only diet I had ever been on, and I have never been on another one. I'm doing keto now, but there's no restriction and no deprivation. So I'll talk about that later a little bit, just briefly, but I have other videos on my YouTube channel about my keto journey. So that's separate. Those are separate videos. But after the HCG diet, I was still experimenting, and I was thinking, you know what? I think in my mind, I was very spiritual. I still am. And I was thinking that maybe we shouldn't be eating animals. So I decided to go vegetarian. I went vegetarian for 2 months. I did everything right. I know about nutrition. I knew exactly what to do. So the 2 months on vegetarian was fine. I didn't have any issues. Then 2 months later, I decided to become vegan. It was very guided. I mean, I felt like, in my mind, like, we shouldn't be eating animals. I think it's gross, and I don't want to eat animals anymore either. So I'm going to go ahead and be a vegan. So I was a vegan, and in that, I was a vegan for 2 months. Okay. So during vegetarian for 2 months, consecutively, then starting vegan for 2 more months. During my vegan days, one time during it, I had such a deep craving for butter. Okay, that's not normal. That, I would say, that doesn't even happen, right? Like, have you ever heard of it? Have you ever craved butter? I mean, eating butter. That's disgusting to me. Well, I needed to have some butter, and I ate butter on crackers for 2 days. Butter on crackers. They were like seed crackers, wheat-free, healthy. I was eating butter on crackers for 2 days to satisfy my butter craving. My body needed it. It was begging me for it. I wouldn't do such a thing, like, ever. It took me 2 days to satisfy that craving. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to keep on being vegan. So I kept on being vegan. Then one day I was driving home, and something came over me where instead of driving home, I saw my home, I passed it. I'm like, I cannot stop at home right now. I have to drive to Whole Foods because I have to buy a steak, and I have to eat a steak right now, or else I might die. And it's not like my tongue or taste buds wanted meat, or I wanted meat, or my philosophies or my spiritual beliefs wanted meat. No, something in my body, it was a desperation. It was a craving. It was a need. And I'm going to get more into the feeling of that in a minute. But I drove to Whole Foods, and I was going to buy a steak, and I was going to go home and cook it. I got there. I was like, I'm not going to buy a steak and cook it. I have to go to the hot foods bar directly and buy some meat and eat it when I get home. So I piled up meat and chicken on my plate and with the lid so I could take it to go and go home and eat it. And I was desperate. I'll tell you about the feeling in a minute. I checked out at the grocery store, and I got in my car, and I thought I was going to drive home, but instead I couldn't. I had to open it up and shovel meat and chicken into me. And the feeling that I had was soul torture from the craving, not from the eating it. I was feeling relief from eating it, but the starvation feeling, needing the meat and needing the chicken, the animal protein, the feeling deep. I've never had such a deep feeling, and I've never had such a feeling of soul torture in my life. I've never had that feeling before. I've never had a stronger craving. I don't care if I've been not eating all day, not dying of thirst, no other craving I was pregnant, I didn't have a craving like this. No other craving in my entire life was this need, my physiological soul. I'm going to say soul need to eat this meat. And the soul torture that I felt was so deep, so my soul was crying and desperate and dying and needing meat like no other feeling I've ever had. I think I'm getting this across to you because it was the strongest, most horrible, horrific feeling. I never want to feel that again, ever, because it was torture. And I was just eating that in the car like a person who hadn't eaten for 2 months. And the relief that I felt, like, my soul could be peaceful again after I, got enough. And that right there told me, Stephanie, there's no way. There in hell, never, no, I have to eat meat. I cannot be a vegan. And actually, there's this book. Oh, I have so many books to show you. So let's back up. So I stopped being vegan that day, never went back. Back in 2000, I was very sick. I had adrenal fatigue, didn't know it yet, but was suffering from a lot. I went to a naturopathic doctor and I told her about my symptoms, and I told her I had fatigue and stuff. And she said, have you ever heard of the blood type diet? Eat Right for Your Type, Blood Type Diet by Dr. Peter Adamo. Anyway, so probably said his name wrong, sorry. But I said, no, I never have heard about the blood type diet. And she said, well, clinically, I've seen it work very well for people. And I'm a type O. And according to the blood type diet, type O blood needs to eat meat because we are descendants of cavemen. Actually, I had a past life regression. I was a caveman. It's kind of funny. So it's in my soul and in my DNA, right? So, well, not that I've done the genetic testing in this lifetime, but I'm a type O. And according to this book, we need meat. And this book is excellent in terms of why personally, everything I say in this video is all about me. So if you disagree and you don't agree, that's perfectly fine. But I'm talking about what works for me. And so in this book, it talks about all the different blood types, what foods are beneficial for you, which foods are neutral for you, which foods are not good for you. And interestingly enough, the foods that are not good, many of the foods that are not good for me, I hate those foods. And how interesting it is that we have wisdom. Our bodies are wise. Listen to your body. Don't force yourself to eat something if you think it's healthy, but you hate it or your body reacts in a weird way. I cannot eat spinach. Spinach gives me the most uncomfortable, horrible feeling in my mouth, like dry teeth. I will never eat it because it's so annoying to feel that feeling. The other day, a couple of months ago, I was eating Swiss chard. The same thing happened to me in my mouth. I will never eat it again unless it's like mixed and stuff. Because if you have calcium to balance the oxalates in those green leafy vegetables, you can reduce the oxalates and balance them. And it could take away that feeling if you mix it with something with calcium, like dairy products. So I would attempt that. But am I going to straight up eat any spinach or Swiss chard? No, I will not, because it's not good for my body. And it has oxalates. So look that up. That's a very important thing to know about. So this, I found out about in 2000. This was very beneficial. I went on this diet, not in deprivation, but just eating highly beneficial foods. And I lost weight and like that. So, okay, this is a really important book. Listen up, everybody. You have heard that high cholesterol is bad. That is not true. High cholesterol, the higher the cholesterol, the longer the life and the healthier. And then that's scientific fact. This book is called The Cholesterol Myths. Oh, don't ask me to pronounce his name. By Uffe Ravinskov. He's not American, but I forget. He's from like Scandinavia country or something like that. But this book is very scientific. So you might not want to read it, and you don't have to read it. All you have to do is read, like, go online and read, look up the cholesterol myths. You're going to find not only this book, many, many, many books about the lies that they've been telling you. Saturated fat is not bad. Saturated fat does not clog your arteries or lead to or cause heart disease. It does not. Cholesterol is not bad. It does not clog your arteries. And that's inflammation. Cholesterol, okay, so let's say you have in the arterial wall, you have inflammation. What causes inflammation? Sugar, processed food, vegetable oils. So olive oil is good, avocado oil is good, coconut oil is good, butter is good. Vegetable oils are bad. Seed oils are bad. Cottonseed, safflower, sunflower, canola, peanut, those seed, nut, some nut oils, but peanut oil, cottonseed, and so on. Those oils are toxic to the body. They're in huge quantities in the United States in foods, processed foods, packaged foods, anything that's not like a whole food from the earth has it mostly. So you want to avoid that. But when you eat those oils are going to go into the arterial wall and damage it. And so inflammation is going to come. So inflammation will arise inside the artery. Cholesterol is a fatty substance. It's a healing agent. Listen to that again. Cholesterol is a healing agent. Cholesterol will go to coat and cover that inflammation. So it's coming to the rescue, which is why they're saying, oh, we see cholesterol in your arteries. Well, cholesterol is healing the inflammation, and you need cholesterol. Your body makes cholesterol. If you don't eat enough cholesterol from your diet, your body will make it for you. So high cholesterol is a myth. There's no such thing. They want to sell statins. Statins, the medication to lower cholesterol, are dangerous, and don't tell any pharmaceutical companies about this video. And they are unhealthy, and they just want to make money. So they're telling everybody, your cholesterol is high, you need to get on statins. It's not true. It's not true. So this book will explain it. It's very scientific. I said, you don't need to read it, but you do need to know that you should never worry about your cholesterol. The more important things to look at are A1C, your inflammation marker, C-reactive protein. That's what I meant to say. A1C has to do with diabetes, but it's still important. But the point is that your C-reactive protein is going to be your inflammation marker. So you want to lower inflammation in your body. You want to have good triglyceride numbers, and you want to not worry about your cholesterol numbers, okay? So I learned all this stuff back in that class in 2001. It was so amazing. And then I just ordered all these books that, the authors, the scientists, the people who are involved in real nutrition. This book is called The Diet Cure by Julia Ross. This is not about diet or dieting. This is all about amino acids. Amino acids are the building blocks of proteins. Proteins are in animal foods. Yeah, there's some in plants, but they don't provide us with the adequate protein that our body needs. And so the reason I just mentioned this book is because it was back in the day in 2001, I was ordering all these books, reading all these nutrition books, and that was one of them. And it was very interesting because she said that our soil, and I had gone to her lecture at the Weston A. Price conference, but she was saying that the soil over many generations is depleted, and it's depleted of vital nutrients that our brains need. And when we're born, you have your great-grandmother, then she had your grandmother, and then your mother, and then you. So with each generation, the brains are getting more and more depleted of these essential amino acids. And that when we're lacking the amino acids, we get depression, anxiety, things like ADHD, and memory issues and cravings for drugs, alcohol, sweets, carbs, comfort from food. And when you refill your brain by taking these specific amino acids, things like L-tryptophan, L-glutamine, different specific amino acids that are listed in the book, when you take them over a period of time, you're refeeding your brain what it needs, and then you can stop taking them. You don't need them. Your brain is actually fed for the rest of your life. It's satisfied. It got what it needed that it was depleted with from birth, and then it's an amazing piece of work, her information. So amino acid therapy can be highly beneficial, and we get our amino acids from animals. There will be people who will comment and who will say, vegans, oh no, we can get all the protein we need from plants. I disagree. And I'm not really going to go too far into that because there's enough, information out there to prove what I'm saying. And it's what I believe. Okay, I told you about that. Okay. So I left off in 2011 when I ate the meat in the car. Okay. Is that my son? No. So after that, I was no longer vegan, but I am very spiritual, and I was very spiritual. And I was like, but I convinced myself that I shouldn't be eating animals. So I had this spiritual philosophy that I took on, and I wasn't a hardcore vegan like that. I was just like internally questioning. So from after I stopped being a vegan, I continued to have these mental ruminations every day, constantly. What are humans supposed to eat? What are humans supposed to eat? Are we supposed to be vegan? Are we supposed to be eating animals? What is the spiritual, what are the spiritual implications of this? What is the highest spiritual path? I mean, all day, what are we supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? Is it wrong? Is it wrong? Is eating meat wrong? And this went on. And in 2012, I was minding my own business, and a voice said to me, Deuteronomy 12. And I'm like, that's the Bible. I did not grow up with religion or a Bible. I never read the Bible. I had never read the Bible. I happened to be staying in a place that had a Bible. And I go in the room, I'm like, there's a Bible right there. I open it up to Deuteronomy 12. Lo and behold, that chapter is all about eating animals. And I was like, oh my God, God literally spoke to me and answered my questions. We are always known, seen, and heard by God. God always knows what's in our mind, what's in our heart, what we need, when we need it, how we need it. And I heard Deuteronomy 12. We cannot make this stuff up. I could not believe my eyes. God heard my prayers and told me directly, Stephanie, you can eat meat. It's okay. It's okay. Yes, I know. Some people are going to say, but the Bible is like, I know. But you know what? My experience was for me, and it was a message for me, and it gave me great relief. And I have been soothed by the knowing that, yes, humanity is meant to eat animals. It's in the Bible. I'm not a Bible thumper. I'm not religious. I don't believe in religion. I don't read the Bible. Never have. I've Googled a couple of, verses or something to like read them, but that's the extent. So when you look back at the history of humanity over millions of years, we have been meat eaters, okay? Omnivores, right? So there has never in the history of humanity been a vegan society. And you know what? If there has, let me know. But even, the Essenes, I think they were vegan. But I don't know. I'm not sure 100%. But if you take an honest look, if you're honest with yourself, if you're attached to the vegan diet, if you're really honest with yourself and you go back throughout history, you absolutely know that there have been 0 to 1, maybe, like I mentioned, the Essenes. We don't know. I don't know, but no vegan societies, right? Who have had multiple generations on this planet. There haven't been any. So right now, there's this new, it's not that new because it's been going on for a long time, but it's big now, of this vegan thing. I have been thinking lately that there's a vegan agenda put on by people who do not want good for humanity, that they're pushing this agenda and giving all kinds of reasons, making documentaries, making up reasons and lies about sustainability, farming, the earth. You know, if you follow this information, you know what I'm talking about. And I don't believe any of it. And if you do the research on the other side, you will know that eating meat is more sustainable for the planet. Now, I am not talking about factory farming. We need to do away 100% with all factory farms. We need to go back to the way it was in the past. Local family farms, biodynamic farming. We need to bring everything back to nature, back to the natural ways, allow nature to regrow and become the way that it was meant to be. We need to close down all factory farms and just eliminate the suffering and the abuse and the torture and the disgusting things that are done to the animals and to our food sources in this world. It is deplorable, disgusting, unfathomable torture and abuse. It is horrible. I purchase my animal foods directly from a local farm. If I don't have those foods, I try to get the cleanest, highest quality, least abused, animal foods possible. I'm not even like not like constantly eating meat. I eat huge salads. That's like the staple of my diet are these enormous salads, but, and like olive oil and some nuts. I just ate an avocado and some macadamia nuts. But so I'm not like over here eating, I'm not a carnivore. That's another newer diet that a lot of people are doing, which they have excellent health results. And I'm totally supportive of that. If it works for them, I see nothing wrong with it. But I haven't done that. And I love salad too much. So I like variety too. So I'm happy with what I'm doing. I'm doing keto. This is high fat, high healthy fat. And there's like 80% fat. And if you don't want to lose weight, you can lower your fat to like 75, 60% of your calories and 15% protein. So you're having about 3 to 6 ounces of protein per meal. So it's moderate protein, not high protein. It has nothing to do with Atkins. It's not high protein. It's not meat all day. It's really not. Like I just ate a huge salad earlier. And then I had an avocado and macadamia nuts. That was basically my dinner because I don't really want more food than that. I'm not hungry. And so I have videos on my keto journey, separate videos. Go ahead and watch those if you're curious about that. But I think that's everything I wanted to talk about in this video. I just really wanted to give an overview of my personal history with this subject and what I believe and think and know. Did I show you all my books that I wanted to show you? Yeah, they're really good books if you're interested in this, like especially that Nourishing Traditions by Sally Fallon, because this is the cookbook where you learn how to make traditional foods that are nutrient dense. Oh yeah, let me tell you about nutrient dense foods. My diet is nutrient dense and it's high fat. And guess what? My brain is so happy. I'm doing it for so many reasons, this diet. And it balances your hormones. It makes you feel great and happy and stable and helps you lose weight. I've lost 18 pounds. I'm still losing weight every day. I'm still going down. I mean, not every day, but I'm still not stopping. And it's not a diet. It's a way of eating and it's a way of life. And I'm not stopping it unless my body tells me. So let me end on this final note. Everybody is different. You should follow the wisdom of your body. Your body will tell you, just like mine told me to eat butter for 2 days. Why would my body do that? It needed it. Why would my body make me drive to the store and shovel animal protein in my mouth? That I had no control over it. Yeah, I could have probably physically stopped myself, but I felt like I was going to die if I didn't. I don't know what would have happened to me if I hadn't done that. I would have like curled up into a ball and gone insane. I am not even kidding you. I needed that meat so badly. Let me tell you something about the human brain. The human brain needs omega-3 fatty acids. Okay? People who are vegan are going to say, you can get omega-3s. You can't get omega-3s directly from plants, but you can get ALA, alpha lipoic acid, that will convert within the body to EPA and DHA. But guess what? Or EFA, essential fatty acids. But guess what? Omega-3s, omega-3 fatty acids come directly from animal foods, especially things like salmon, salmon roe. Those are high in omega-3s. When you get them only from plant sources, you can get it from algae and a few other plant sources. When you get your ALAs from your plant sources, your body will make the conversion into the omega-3 fatty acids that you need, but at such a minuscule quantity that you are not getting enough. You are not getting enough omega-3s to feed your brain. That's why you see some attitudes there on that with that diet. People get a little bit imbalanced and unhealthy. Actually, pay attention to all of the ex-vegans on the internet and in the world. You know, I'm going to say 9 times out of 10, that's not an accurate thing because I don't know the real statistics, but the majority of vegans turn into ex-vegans after a number of years because their body deteriorates. They become chronically ill. They have severe health issues and they have to stop, and they push it. A lot of people who are vegan push it for a very, very, very long time because they are so adamant in their philosophy and their beliefs that they have to be vegan, and they almost die. And then they decide that I'm not going to die, I'm going to eat an animal. And they thrive. They start eating animals and their health comes back. These testimonials are documented in thousands of videos, blogs, articles, and people that you will know personally and on social media. Thousands and thousands. I've seen them over the past 20 years or 15 years of being aware of this phenomena. So I don't buy any of the arguments from the vegan side. I don't buy any of them about the earth, sustainability, the animals, the body, the human body, nutrition. No, sorry. I've been there. I've researched it. I'm not going to respond to any comments about it. I'm not interested in debating it. I'm putting forward my message, my wisdom, my intelligence, my experience, my research, my knowing, and my truth. And I am not backing down from my stance on this. I'm not interested in talking about it or disputing this in messages or whatever. Nope, not interested. I know where I stand on it. And so the human brain needs animal food. The human body needs animals. Oh yeah, here's the other point, spirituality. This is why one of the big, huge reasons I decided to make this video. There are a lot of myths going on, a huge amount of myths going on in the spiritual communities that in order to ascend and in order to raise your vibration, how long have I been recording? I have no idea, but I know this is a long video and I'm sorry about that. You have to be plant-based. And if you eat animals, it's creating karma and you're ingesting low vibrational suffering and torture from the animals. They're all, you know, you've heard it all. I don't know. I don't buy into that at all. Here's the thing. We cannot play God. We cannot superimpose spiritual beliefs onto food and how our bodies were made. Our bodies were designed, and we must feed our bodies to that design, to feed our bodies appropriately. We cannot supersede the design of the human because we have a spiritual philosophy and belief. I don't care who's channeling this information. I don't care how many people are channeling this information. It's false. This is misinformation, because I think that the vegan agenda is to create weak, mind-controlled, sick, fragile, unhealthy, and not so balanced in the brain people. That's what I think. And that's what it does. That's what the vegan diet actually is doing. So wake up, eat some meat, have some eggs, have some butter, and some salmon from wild-caught Alaskan sockeye salmon only, but that's really healthy. Get those omega-3s, get that healthy fat. You will be so happy. And water, 1 second. But yeah, no, I'm not buying into the vegan agenda. I think it's nefarious. I think it's unhealthy. And I don't care how I am spiritual. I have a high vibration. It's not about that. This is what the myths are, that you can't ascend and you can't be your light body, this, like, no. This human body needs what it needs. If we ascend into another form of a human, in a different dimension or a different type of body, more of a light body, whatever, that form might not need animals, but this current human form does. And people say, oh, well, we're ascending into the 5th dimension and we need to have a plant-based diet or be fruitarian. No, we don't. It's going to harm you and hurt you. Eating that much fruit is going to cause you a fatty liver and diabetes and insulin resistance. It's going to cause you to gain weight. It's going to cause you to have blood sugar issues, and you're not even getting enough proteins or fat. So I'm not buying any of it. I've done enough research. I've done enough experimentation on this body to know exactly how I thrive and how I feel like I'm going to die. And speaking of that, I was practically dying of adrenal fatigue in 2000, 2001, and so on for a few years. And they told me you have to eat meat, you have to eat nutrient-dense food, animal products. That was the healing diet for adrenal fatigue. So they had me taking, I was going to a natural doctor, taking adrenal gland, supplement, desiccated. So, or whatever it's called. I was taking desiccated thyroid from a pig, actually, T3, very temporarily to balance my thyroid, but then I was taking the adrenal cortex, supplement from an animal. So why do they make these glandular supplements from animals for humans to take? Because we need to be eating. I don't really eat animal organs that much, but we need to be eating them because they're healthy. And that's why they make animal glandular supplements for humans to take to restore our glands, our health. Because animals are here on this planet, some of them, that we eat, for our nourishment. God bless them. God bless us. We are on this planet. We have to follow the natural rules of this life on earth. Can we judge it? No, don't judge it. Accept what it is. You came in for a physical human experience. If you start judging it like vegans, oh, I'm going to put judgment on top of this and I'm not going to eat this, but I'm going to get sick. I'm going to be, delude myself and resist or ignore my health issues because I have a philosophy. No, you've got to listen to your body and eat what your body needs. So enough of my rant. I'm passionate about this topic, and that's it. See you guys in another video. Bye.